I want you to imagine you're on holiday. You've just woken up in your new hotel. You poke your head out of the window. You see a beautiful blue sky, soft white clouds. You can hear the breeze rustling through the trees. It's a beautiful English summer morning. And on this holiday, you've got some plans. You want to explore some of Britain's wonderful old sports. For Britain is a country that loves a good sport. We love a good sporting game. Us, the lovers of football, the masters of tennis that we haven't won in decades, with our pub classics of darts and billiards. We love some sports, but you've seen all of the boring ones that they do at the Olympics, and you want to explore something a bit more different. So you get yourself a nice sporting tour guide. And that's me. I'm here to tell you all about the wonderful sports of England. Perhaps you'd like to engage in a nice game of egg throwing, whereby a priest hands you an egg, and you attempt to throw said egg over a river, and another group of individuals on the far side of the river attempt to catch your egg. After which you can play a lovely game of Russian egg roulette, whereby most eggs are hard-boiled, but not all. The bullet in the revolver is the raw egg, and you must smash these eggs against your forehead, the loser being the one who gets egg on their face. Or perhaps you want something a bit less active. Perhaps you prefer something a bit more relaxed, where you can participate but mainly spectate. Perhaps then you'd like a nice game of snail racing, an older sport that's existed since about the 1960s. I'd like to tell you who the champion of the 1960s snail racing competitions were, only the first race hasn't actually finished yet, so I can't. Or perhaps you're not quite so repressed as some English people are, and you prefer to do something a little bit naughtier, so how about some Dorset knob throwing? If you're not familiar with the term, knob is an English word for cock. What am I doing with my life? However, sadly, this game does not involve inappropriately touching men from the southwest of England. Instead, it involves tossing a large, sizable biscuit around a field, the winner being whomever can throw their biscuit the furthest. It should be noted at this point that in the northeast of England, a slang term for throwing is to wang. So this sport could justifiably be described in some parts of the country as wanging knobs. And so you've seen that England has a wonderful, wonderful pedigree for many, many wonderful different types of sport, but I'm going to tell you in a little bit more detail about a couple of my absolute favourites. And we're going to start with cheese rolling. Yes, unlike the last one, that is exactly what it sounds like. Individuals, as many as they would like to choose, gather upon a hill in English springtime. They bring with them a 9-pound wheel of local cheese, or put it into proper systems of measurement, 4 kilograms worth of cheese. They push said rolls of cheese downhill. 1 second later, they are allowed to chase after this cheese down this very steep hill, the winner being the first person to cross the finish line with their cheese. What do you win should you win this most prestigious of events? You win the cheese, 4 kilograms of cheese, which retails at around £7, or about $10 or $11. The only problem being, English springtime is perhaps occasionally known for its rain, and as such, running around on a hill with a large piece of cheese is possibly not going to be the cleanest environment you've ever experienced. So if you do want 4 kilograms of cheese, I would highly advise you go to the shop and buy some, because otherwise it's going to be quite dirty. You might think this is all fun and games, but no. 4 kilograms of cheese rolling down quite a steep hill in the English countryside can actually end up being quite dangerous. Spectators of this wondrous British sport have been injured by rampant rolling cheeses. As such, these days, you win a nice clean piece of cheese, because your cheese doesn't actually go down the hill. They've replaced it with a nice, safe foam replica of a piece of cheese. Health and safety gone mad. But it is still a British sport, and as such, it is started, and the cheese is thrown down the hill, and everybody is allowed to get going by an individual known as the Master of Ceremonies, because even when we're chucking rolls of cheese down a dirty hill in the middle of springtime, we still need to make things unnecessarily posh. So the Master of Ceremonies will say, "Release the cheese!" and then, "Release the cheese runners!" and off you go. This sport's over 500 years old. For 500 years old, English men and women have been running down hills after pieces of cheese. But perhaps you're looking at all of these fine English institutions and you're thinking to yourself, you know, these are all a bit wussy. I don't really like any of these. None of these are really exciting enough. I'm a big, tough, maybe you're a big, tough Russian man with a big, fluffy hat on, and or maybe you're a big, rough and tumble American bloke, and you're used to all of your guns and things. And you might be thinking all of these sports are a little bit weak. Well, how about this one? How would you like to participate in a game of ferret legging? Ferret legging originated many, many years ago amongst poachers, when the laws in England were a bit different and the ownership of animals, wild animals that is, could only be done by nobles and the king and such as. As such, if a poacher wanted to take some ferrets for whatever reason or another, and he was seen by an official such as a sheriff or similar with his ferret, he'd be in a bit of a pickle because he'd get arrested, so he'd have to hide his ferret, and of course the most logical place to hide a ferret is down your trousers. And as such, the modern sport consists of having a ferret put down your trousers. Not a quiet ferret, an angry ferret. Not a de-toothed, de-clawed ferret. Oh no. The ferret must be in good health. A ferret dentist is required on site to ensure that the ferret's teeth are in excellent condition, and its claws must be checked to ensure they are properly sharp. Bands are then tied around the contestants' legs, and their belts are securely fastened. Trousers are then opened, ferrets put inside, and the winner is he who can last the longest with a ferret down his trousers. A female version of this sport also exists, known as ferret busting, whereby ferrets are put down oversized blouses, the winner being whichever woman can survive the longest without ripping her blouse off. I can't think of some reasons why this sport was invented, but never mind. But just to ram home the beauty of this sport, I would like to give you a little quote by one of the old champions of this sport. He said that he liked to wear white trousers for this sport, so that the audience could properly appreciate the amount of blood that was being drawn by his ferret. If you're thinking, this sounds ridiculous, this sounds absolutely stark raving mad, I can't possibly imagine anybody doing this. Well, the Americans did it. For 5 years they held the National Ferret Legging Championship in Virginia, the state named after an unused vagina. If it's good enough for the Americans, it's good enough for me. However, none of these are quite my favourite particular sport. I would like to tell you about my favourite sport. It's called the Chap Olympiad, whereby ladies and gentlemen gather on an English stately home, and they compete in order to find out who is the most British. There are no defined rules beyond the winner, as judged by a panel of experts, of whom I am obviously overly qualified to be one, just waiting for my email saying that I'm supposed to be joining them. The winner is whoever can be the most British. They often compete on levels of eccentricity, idiosyncrasy, and sporting ineptitude. This is the epitome of British sportsmanship. These are just some of the many wonderful sports that you could enjoy on your holiday here in the good old United Kingdom. Thank you and good night.